Greetings, students. It's the counseling department coming to talk with you today about the college essay. As you know, we've been on a journey together this year with all kinds of activities to help you explore and discover yourself to ultimately find your right fit for after high school. Today, we're going to talk to you about the college essay for those of you going on to a four-year college that requires a college essay. We're going to discuss what an essay wants, what it should and shouldn't include, give you some essay prompts to think about and maybe perhaps start writing over the summer, tell you a little bit about colleges that want also what's called a supplemental essay, and give you tips on how to write. So let's start with the who. Who wants a college essay? First and foremost, for four-year colleges, not all of them require a college essay. So you'll want to look at your SMART list of colleges and determine whether or not they require it. It does tend to be for those schools that have a holistic application, that are a little more selective rather than formula-oriented in their college admission decisions. Some private, some public. It could be some big research schools, some master level schools, some private liberal arts colleges. So you want to, when you're researching schools, keep track of those schools that require it. The Common Application is a consortium of over 700 colleges, and that particular application allows you to apply to more than one school. They have an application essay that you can choose amongst many, and we'll talk about that. So why would a college want you to write an essay, you might ask? Obviously, it's more work for you, but what it does is it allows a college to know you better. It allows them to know your story, to hear your voice. Basically, it's going to give them context for who you are. It's also going to show them that you can write, show your authentic passions, show that you have intellectual curiosity and engagement, and a huge piece of it is how you might fit in with their school, their community. If you think about the word admission, it has the word mission in it. Colleges are looking to make sure you fit the mission of their college, as should you make sure that their college is fitting the mission for which you're going on to a post-secondary college for. What we want to emphasize is there's some don'ts to consider when you're writing your college essay. You don't have to think it's perfect. You really want it to be authentic about you. You also don't want to relist activities that are found elsewhere in your application. You don't want to write about somebody else because this is about you. You don't want to try to solve a world problem, be offensive, or even write about your grades, which can be found in a supplemental part that you can write about. Don't write a dull essay. The admission counselor from Emory College in Atlanta, Georgia, once said, "I'm really tired of reading essays that are about mission trips, sports injuries, and winning the championship." They're reading thousands of essays, so try to write about something that's unique to you, that tells your story, that's not a cliche. And most importantly, don't worry. So let's talk about the do's. It's got to be authentic. Really be genuine to who you are. You don't want to be admitted to a college if it's not something that you wrote. This is your chance to reflect and free write about who you are. Do have some drafts and do have editors to help you make sure that it's grammatically correct. Do nerd out. Let it be something that's kind of fun, a journey for you to be cathartic about your life, how you're going to fit into that college. Be consistent with who you are. Give it energy, again, so it's not dull. And have it have focus. It doesn't have to be your whole life. So we want to introduce you to the Common Application prompts. Again, the Common Application is a consortium of over 700 colleges, and if you apply to one of those schools, you can use this application for more than one of the colleges that are participating. They have given us the 7 prompts that are available for your senior year, where you would write up to 650 words, picking one of the 7 prompts you see here. Think about getting a Common Application account, and when you're building your SMART college list, find out if it's a Common Application school or not. If you go to the Colleges tab under Naviance and click on Colleges I'm Thinking About, you'll know if it's Common App, which is denoted with a CA. These are the prompts that you can look at, and this PowerPoint and screencast will be on your Planner tab on Naviance so that you can look at this again. This particular hyperlink, when you go to the screencast or PowerPoint, brings you to the Common Application schools, and it lets you know which of the Common Application schools, because not all of them require an essay, but which ones do. The Coalition is another application that's out there for about 115 mostly selective colleges. This is a new application platform that not many students use because all but 3 of the colleges use a common application which has been around since the 1970s. So it's not something that we're going to spend a lot of time on, but they actually give you 5 prompts to choose from. So we're going to give you a strategy on how to write an effective and powerful college essay to tell your story. It's essentially 4 strategies. 1 is to brainstorm characteristics about yourself. 2 is to think of a narrative or a little mini story that depicts those characteristics about you, and that's how you start your essay, which is number 3. And then finally, telling the backstory to how you handled whatever problem or whatever you wrote about, and conclude with future forward, what you learned and how you're going to bring that on to college. So let's start with number 1. Start to think about who you are. If you were to go out into the halls of Edina and ask people to define you, how would they define you? What characteristics or defining qualities would they consider that you have? Think of how others describe you, things that make you unique. Here's a list of some characteristics to think about. Are you adventurous? Are you strategic? Are you warm? Are you vital? Are you persuasive? Think about at least 3 characteristics that define you. Next, what you want to do is think of a time in your life, a moment in time where you are exemplifying those characteristics, where if we shined a camera down, you would be portraying those characteristics that make you, you. Think of it like a mini story, a little narrative about a moment in time where you're showing that. You're the main character and you're the scene of this movie. So you would start your essay with this mini narrative anecdote story. You want to use the past tense. You want to describe a scene, what you see, feel, hear. You can use descriptors like who was involved, what happened, where did it happen, when did it happen, and starting the story at its most pivotal moment. Usually it's the action in your anecdote that depicts your characteristics, your defining characteristics. And you can even throw in a line or 2 with dialogue. Tip: the best way to start a little narrative is when you're involved in some sort of problem, crisis, or conflict or obstacle. If you use this start to your essay with a little narrative, be specific. Instead of saying the dog ran up to me, say the neighbor's bull terrier Brutus charged me. Don't worry about the background or explaining the larger context just yet. You'll get to that. Have it be about 1 to 2 paragraphs at the beginning of your story, which leaves them hanging to describe then what you learned. So examples can be very ordinary, mundane events. We had a student write about her obsession with karaoke. Some people say karaoke. We had another student start their essay with talking about how they love to tie knots, and they tied knots, and they actually tied the wrong knot, and they got stuck in a tree. There was one essay that was pretty powerful where a female wrote about being a caddy and how the other boys never invited them to lunch. So the 4th strategy, after you've picked characteristics, thought of a narrative or a mini story, and then started your essay with that, is to then tell the background. So it's show with a mini story, then tell. So what you're going to do now is give the backstory to that little narrative that you started your essay with, explain how you handled the problem or what you learned, and wrap it up with what it means now for you, how you're going to bring that to college with you. The bulk of the essay should be how you felt, making it personal and opening up. These are some tips on writing an anecdote. There's a really great resource called College Essay Hell, and basically this particular resource gives you a lot of strategies on how to start an essay with an anecdote. Again, you can find these hyperlinks on either the Class of 2019 website page or on Naviance under the My Planner tab. So these are questions to just guide the process after you've written an essay. Does your essay hook us? Did you start in the past and then get to the present? Did you only write in the first person and not spend too much time describing another person? Did you make sure not to tell your whole life story? And again, these are just some guiding principles to follow to be able to have you write a really good essay. Some tips from colleges are to write about yourself, not anyone else, keeping the focus on you and using your own voice. They know when it's not an essay that's authentically written from you. And for sure, make it grammatically correct by proofreading it and writing naturally. Again, finally, from colleges, they want you to remember that some colleges have what's called supplemental essays, which means essentially that not only do you have to write the main essay, they might have additional short answer questions that allow you to tell them about perhaps your major or why that college. And this hyperlink brings you to supplemental strategies for writing those short essay types. On your Common application, if it's a Common application school, the front page will let you know if your college has additional essays that are required, as well as diving in further into the college's website. Finally, follow directions, proofread, have a friend read it. When they read it, make sure they're kind of telling you back what 3 adjectives or defining characteristics are coming out of it. Some resources to help. I mentioned Essay Help. Admitsee is a new resource where you can actually see students who were accepted at various colleges and what they wrote about. There's a little caveat with that. I think you get a free amount of time to use that, but then they might require a fee after that, but it's a good place to start. And then one of our favorites is College Essay Guy. Ethan Sawyer is a guy based out of California who gives all kinds of great resources for writing your essay and absolute great activities to get you started, so check that out as well. As always, we want to remind you that these PowerPoints and screencasts are on your Class of 2019 page under Edina High School's website. And then on your My Planner tab, under Naviance, is every activity and screencast we've done so far. So if you wanted to get the hyperlinks, you can find them there. So good luck with your essay, good luck with everything else, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon.